Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Shinrin Yoku, and Yurt Life, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Thursday, January 18th, 7:45 p.m. Mountain Time 2024. 99942 Apophis is going to make a close flyby to Earth in 2029, and we have that scary, tantalizing animation in just a moment. Keep calm. It's boom time. Avalanche shuts down Big Cottonwood Canyon until further notice. Inclement weather continues to impact road conditions throughout the Wasatch Front as UDOT officials closed Big Cottonwood Canyon until further notice. This is just one of dozens of avalanches, and the avalanche danger is not over.
Avalanches in just 2 days with more snow and rain in the forecast. The risks remain high. Check out this video. This is an avalanche in Little Cottonwood Canyon. It was triggered by a snowboarder. That is so much snow. This afternoon, an avalanche stopped traffic in both directions in Big Cottonwood Canyon. And that's what you're seeing right behind us here.
Emma Riley joining us live tonight after speaking with an avalanche forecaster. Emma, what can we expect in the days to come? I'm sure they're just telling everybody to be extra careful.
Yeah, I spoke with avalanche forecaster Craig Gordon, and he says that the snowpack is really dangerous. He says some of that heavier, dense snow mixed with some weak snow is making a recipe for disaster.
And right now, any avalanche you trigger, it's going to break deep, it's going to be dangerous, and it's going to fail on those weak layers that were created during the dry spell.
In the last couple of days, Utah Avalanche Center forecaster Craig Gordon says there have been numerous human-triggered avalanches in close calls. The avalanche threat lies in the dangerous snowpack.
Last weekend, it just got clobbered with dense, heavy, wind-drifted snow. It's strong snow on weak snow. We got to think not only about the snow we're riding in, but also the snow we're riding on.
But Gordon says it doesn't mean you can't enjoy the fresh snow.
What it does mean is we need to stay off of and out from under slopes that are about 30 degrees in steepness.
Over the next 4 to 5 days, there may be more winter weather piling on.
This is a kind of setup in our snowpack that doesn't heal itself, it doesn't go away overnight.
For backcountry skiers, boarders, or sledders, it's important to know what kind of conditions you're riding on to stay safe.
Number one, we need to practice a little patience and pump the brakes a bit. Secondly, we need to be armed with the latest avalanche forecast for the zone that we plan to travel in.
Also, make sure you are prepared with avalanche gear in case you need to self-rescue.
We got to remember that this dense, strong slab is resting on a weak, sugary layer, and all we've got to do is knock the legs out from underneath, and then the entire roof is crashing down on top of us.
Remember to heed the warnings, and you can always ski at resorts that have avalanche mitigation, and stay safe out there, folks. And let's talk about the deadly coast-to-coast cold snap, now claiming over 50 lives across the U.S.
Coast-to-coast cold snap, it is now blamed for more than 50 fatalities, and more wintry weather hit areas from the West Coast to the Great Lakes just yesterday. Oregon's largest cities, in fact, including Portland, received dangerous amounts of ice, and another lake-effect storm is dumping feet of snow in western New York. Carter Evans is tracking all of it, the impact of this winter wallop.
The cold snap gripping much of the nation continues with deadly consequences. Here in Portland, Oregon, 3 people were killed after a live power line fell on their car. They were electrocuted as they fled the vehicle. A 2-year-old survived after being pulled from the arms of one of the adults.
It appears as if they were scared and exited the vehicle, and with the live electricity, 3 of them did not make it.
The city has been crippled by a devastating mix of ferocious winds, snow, and dangerously low temperatures. A half-inch of ice in the Portland area has coated everything in sight, bringing down trees and cutting off power.
These are the icy streets that everyone in this community is facing right now. It is a complete sheet of ice. It feels like the car is at an ice skating rink.
Other parts of the country are dealing with whiteout conditions. In Knoxville, Tennessee, so much snow fell on this dock, it collapsed. And near Salt Lake City, plows had to carve out paths for cars to go through. Parts of western New York continue to get pounded. The Buffalo area is now digging out of the second lake effect snowstorm in less than a week. Another 2.5 feet of snow piling up south of the city are making drifts so high they're reaching the front porches of people's homes.
Wait, I thought we would never see snow again. Our children would not know what snow was. Well, the AP explains why the U.S. is in a deep freeze when much of the world is hot. The only problem with that statement is the other hemisphere is in summer. So yeah, it is hot. But the important thing to know is that excessive heat can kill, but extreme cold causes many more fatalities. In fact, up to 10 times as many. To show just how great the disparity was between cold and heat-related deaths, looking specifically at England and Wales, there were an average of nearly 800 excess deaths associated with heat and 60,500 associated with cold between 2000 and 2019. Quite a disparity. 800 deaths from heat, 60,500 from cold. So it's the cold that kills, not the heat. And they are not warning us about that. In fact, in the Northern Hemisphere, it is frigid. Most of China, Kazakhstan, all of Russia in the negatives. This is in Fahrenheit, -40, -37 on Greenland. We'll get to that. But it is freezing cold in the Northern Hemisphere, up to 70 degrees below freezing in most areas. And those are the facts. Here's the forecast. Ice and snow in the northwest. Quick blast of snow for the north central and northeast U.S. Heavy lake effect snow will continue. Heavy freezing rain is expected again today into Friday for portions of the Cascades and lower Columbia Basin. Heavy snow of 1 to 2 feet will overspread the Cascades late today and into tonight. That's going to bring some power outages. A fast-moving low will bring a quick blast of light but hazardous snowfall through the northern Rockies, north central plains, and Midwest today. Heavy lake effect snow will continue for the Great Lakes. Winter storm watches and warnings up, as well as freeze warnings and watches for the south, extending all the way down into Florida. Could be an iguana apocalypse. We never know. Here is the GFS model. Before we get to that, let's take a quick look at the power outages and see if the weather is affecting life in North America. Well, the good news is most of the U.S. is in the clear, but Portland and Oregon is still rising. We were down to 52,000 power outages yesterday. Now we're at 61,290, and that will increase, and it will increase in the east as well as Washington State as that system moves in. Here's that heavy system moving in now. And it is going to bring some heavy snow to the high elevations. And let's take a look at this clipper that's going to move through the northeast here on Friday and into Saturday, bringing more snow to Philly, South Jersey, and Long Island in New York, maybe 1 to 3 inches. Let's take a look at that total snowfall real quick. And here we're going to see, 1 to 2 inches, maybe a little more heavy snow in the West Virginia mountains, maybe up to a foot through the end of the weekend as heavy snow moves into the Pacific Northwest, including down the Sierra Spine all the way to Southern California. We may see some snow. The Four Corners region picking up a little slathering of snow as well. We need it in the west, and it looks like the Northeast is going to be the big winner, chicken dinner, as we end the month with a boom. 10 feet of snow strands 1,000 people in northwest China. Heavy accumulations pounding the U.S. as we just saw with historic freeze-breaking energy records. They want us hungry, cold, and controlled. Stay tuned for more news on that. Seismic update, the big rocker of today, 6.4 in Tonga. No tsunami warning or watch with that. We have some activity here in Mexico with a 5.0 at 46 kilometers. Probably little damage. And worldwide, no other quakes of note. Worldwide volcano news, Liwa Tobi Laki, intense lava flows, hot avalanches, and paroxysm from the crater. Beautiful. Not much more normal activity worldwide today. Popo to 23, Fuego to 15, Sabancaya to 20,000 feet, a 10,000-foot puff from Abico, and Santa Rita also there. Nothing out, no outliers, all normal activity. Space weather news at Solar Max, cycle 25. The sun has sunspots, still no flaring. The sun has gone quiet. The sun is embarrassingly weak As we dive deeper into the grand solar minimum, cycle 26 may never develop. We take a quick look at Iceland and the Reykjanes Peninsula. Seismicity has dropped off, as well as tremor over the last 12 to 24 hours. We're keeping a close eye on that, as an additional eruption that's not over yet is imminent. Now let's talk about 99942 Apophis. This is a big asteroid headed our way in 2029. The animation shared on Facebook, Cosmo Knowledge, on Sunday shows asteroid 99942 Apophis' path, culminating in its closest approach on April 13th, 2029. To be clear, there is nothing to fear with this asteroid, according to NASA. Unfortunately, that's never a straight answer there. It will not hit Earth in 2029, nor in another close approach in 2036. Let's take a look at how close this nail biter, that is not what we wanted, will be. That is the position of Apophis as it moves. So it's going to be far from the moon, but it's going to be quite close to Earth. And there you can see, let's bring it back in here, all the way from the asteroid belt there. And here we can see Earth approaching Apophis. Look at how close this flyby is. It actually disappears behind Apophis. Here's the close-up on the flyby. Absolutely spectacular. Elon Musk's Starship almost made it to orbit before violently exploding. Musk claims at a SpaceX meeting, had it had cargo, it would have made it to space. That means that the third Starship test flight coming up in just a few weeks here will potentially make it to space. That's good news, as Elon is trying to get to Mars. Now, bad news, we may have a cyber attack, and we're going to talk about it in just a few minutes over on this channel. The next interview with Ben Joseph Stewart, filmmaker and content creator. He made the film Kymatica, Esoteric Agenda, and many other documentaries. We're going to discuss it all, including cognitive cities, optogenetics, and mind control, and some of the creepy things that may be coming up this year. Good news is that civilizations rise and fall, and many people rise out of the ashes to overcome. And that's what's happening in the Four Corners region here, where we've been prepping for a decade, and many other groups, like this group here in western Utah, where they have hundreds of acres and a survival community that will make it through. So join us over at this channel. It's the next show. Ben Joseph Stewart, Kymatica, Esoteric Agenda, Cognitive Cities, Optogenetics, and Mind Control, for the eye-opening experience. And maybe, just maybe, you could red pill a few people if you share this video with them. It's going to be quite an interesting conversation, and we'll see you there in just a few minutes. And that's a boom to knowledge. The show is starting now. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people, and be safe. We love you. Click on the link. Join us.